Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got Lewis Herms and we're going to be talking about the debate that he recently had, which we're going to be showing a clip of, and with the satanic cabal and also what's going on with the Epstein files that have recently been released regarding Trump. And we're going to dive into that to find out exactly what's going on there, because a lot of people are a little bit confused. But just before we begin, we're back on YouTube. And for YouTube's guidelines, I just want to say, because we want to stay on YouTube, use the Matrix weapons against them so we can wake up as many people as possible and say that this is for entertainment and purposes and educational purposes only. We are not financial or health advisors. Do your own research. We're not making any claims. And again, we're just exploring our the space and our opinions and speculations, etc. But Lewis, thank you so much for joining me. How are you? And what have you been up to?
A great intro. I think I'm going to start using that for YouTube.
We have to. We have to play their game against them, protect ourselves, and we wake up as many people as possible. We have to be strategic. Okay,
yeah.
That's how we should be.
Yeah, which I have trouble doing, but I'm gonna learn from you and others, because I have a knack of getting taken down on every possible social media you can. But I agree with you. If we could just parse our words, but people still know what we're saying, more people are going to see it. So that's brilliant.
So tell me, what's been going on with the debate? You recently had a debate. Let's just, before we play it, how did you think it went? And what do you want to share with the viewers today?
Well, number one, I was told that it was phenomenal, that we did absolutely amazing, which is great. I had several people that came in supporting other candidates, and they said they're supporting me after the debate. I could not have asked for anything more than that. That was unexpected. So that was cool. Now, what was interesting, though, is Steve Hilton, which is supposed to be the front runner, right? Some people would say Chad Bianco, but they have different polls. They go back and forth. But Steve Hilton, who's supposed to be the front runner, everything he does is on the media. All local media pick him up, national media pick him up. But for some reason, when he does a debate, it's a media blackout. How is that exactly happening? Because that's the manipulation of the media. The last thing they want to have anybody look at is what you're going to show, is that there's a clear delineation between the two candidates. Mm-hmm. One's an actor, one's authentic.
Absolutely. Okay, so very interesting. So let's have a play. Okay, let me share my screen for a change. Okay, right, can you see that?
I can. And did you put audio on?
I did. If you can't hear it or if there's any problems, please let me know, but I'm going to press play now, okay?
This won't be popular, but it's a captured operation in California.
Hey, Nick, can
That's
you
the
go
truth.
back?
The reality is they spend more time trying to put a rhino.
Lewis Herms, just to remind you, the question is, what is wrong with the GOP in the state of California?
Go back to where
what did President Trump teach us?
Starts the question, so you can see you want to go back to the beginning where Laura Logan starts the question, because then you can see Hilton's response versus my response,
so which I think. Should we just go from the beginning?
I'd like to start with the elephant in the room, which is what is wrong with the GOP in the state of California?
All right, I'm going to stand up. I want to bring some energy into this room. I'll tell you what is wrong with the Republican Party in California. We are not winning. We need to win in California. I'm tired of being told that you have to put up with it or leave this state. Why should we leave? We're not the ones that did this to our beautiful state. They need to leave. The corrupt, rotten regime in Sacramento, the establishment in Sacramento, and for too long the Republican Party's been propping it up. We need to fight back. What did President Trump teach us? Fight, fight, fight. That's how we take our state back. We've got to fight the corrupt elite. We've got to fight for working people in California, small business in California, fight for freedom and opportunity. My family left communism in Hungary. I came here with my wife and 2 children not to have the flame of freedom extinguished here in California by this corrupt, rotten regime. We are going to fight and we are going to win.
Steve, over to Louis Herms. Just to remind you, the question is, what is wrong with the GOP in the state of California?
Thank you, Laura. Well, first, this won't be popular, but it's a captured operation in California. That's the truth. The reality is they spend more time trying to put a rhino, Republican in name only, in office. The primaries are the most important, and they focus on getting a rhino because they know the Democrats there. It's two sides of one coin. It's a game. The primaries are the most important. The California GOP focuses everything and where? They tell you to focus on the general election, don't they? Elections are won and lost in the primary. The California GOP, in my opinion, is a captured operation. They'll support 5 people while they're raising money for them, and at the last second, they'll throw it all into who I believe they have compromised. I don't need my full time for that.
Thank you, Louis Herms.
Your elections are a disaster. You mail 3 ballots out, 2 of them go to somebody real, 1 ballot goes somewhere else. What kind of election is that?
You can stop at any time, Nick.
First part is, how do you expect to win
I think there's a bit more that you...
When the elections are rigged, that's what we mean.
There's a little bit more that you say, and you're going to stand up again, so I want to carry on watching. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, great stuff.
Yeah, they're rigged. Yeah, exactly. How do you expect to win? And then second, if you were governor, how would you fix it?
Louis Herms.
Well, let's have a second of honesty. Under the current system, nobody here is going to win an election. That's the reality of it. So how do we fix it now? You're not going to fix it. We're not going to fix it after we get in.
I thought of it.
Right? Thank you very much, Dr. Doug Frank, ladies and gentlemen. What do we need to do? We, the people, need to rise up. We, the people, need to be getting involved right now. We, the people, have to educate everybody on what the heck is going on. So I'll give you a little education and see if this resonates with you. In 2018, Orange County, California, 5 Republicans were put in to the county seats. Yet, in the morning, 5 Democrats took those seats. How's that possible?
Cheating.
That's ballot harvesting. Okay? It's ballot harvesting. Now, I believe there's a deep state parasitic cabal that's running this mess. All right? That's what's going on right now. So they're ballot harvesting. You think that was new for them? No, they've been doing it 40 years over all around the world. The CIA, sorry, 3-letter agency, has been highly involved in this. So in 2018, I don't think they were testing whether ballot harvesting worked. You know what they were doing? They were seeing what the apathy of the Republicans were. And it was horrible because the next day, you know what all 5 of them said? We'll get them next time. Right? That's what they're checking. So at that moment in 2018, they knew they won the 2020 election. Think about that. We need to educate people for We the People really quick since they have a couple seconds left. Voter IDs, no brainer. Same day voting, paper ballots, yada, yada, yada. Of course, one more thing, serial numbers.
Thank you, Louis Herms. And Steve Hilton.
All right.
Interesting. Did you say that's very interesting, Louis? Thank you very much for that. You spoke very fluently, very well, and you can see that you're passionate about it. You don't have an agenda. The others were very performative, but you seemed very patriotic about it. Did you speak to any of the guys there before you went on? Did you communicate with the other guys?
I did, yeah, just about all of them.
And how was it with them? Like, did you manage to grasp their intentions?
Yeah, I can tell you, probably about 4 or 5 of them have very, very good intentions. I don't think they have a grasp of the child trafficking, the election fraud, and the way our foods are being poisoned. But I think their intentions are correct, which gave me actually a good feeling. I was happy about that it's not a bunch of deep state people running. And then you have some others that I wouldn't trust as far as I could throw them, right? That are just, they have some sick agendas. But overall, I believe we're on the right path because now we're having good people that are starting to stand up and say, I'm done with this and I want to do something. I don't know if they all have the solutions that we have in our campaign, but I'm just happy to see good people are standing up.
So how about the lady in the glasses? What do you think her intentions were? I know she was like, the host, but what is she, on the right side or the left side?
She's on the right. Yeah, that's Kim Yater, and her intentions are just, I believe, just to get the conservative message out there. And she's a huge in the background, huge advocate to fixing the elections that have been fraudulent for so long.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to say is, what do you think of the Englishman who was there?
Well,
just be honest. Say as is.
It felt performative to me.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
And I don't know what the intentions are there. I know there's a lot of money behind him. I'm extraordinarily skeptical because I don't run the campaign on telling you constantly what's wrong. I like to run the campaign and say what's wrong and here's the solution, right? He tends to run on the back of Gavin Newsom's failure. Well, Gavin Newsom's not somebody that we're going to go up against. Gavin Newsom is timed out anyway, so it doesn't even matter, right? So, and I have a problem with a dual citizenship issue also. If he's gonna run, I mean, my son had a dual citizenship going into the Marines. They said you had to renounce your dual citizenship and only have allegiance to the United States. I don't know why it would be any different for a governor.
So do you think he has renounced, or would he renounce his citizenship?
He definitely has not renounced it.
Yeah. I personally believe that it should be, obviously a absolute, a pure citizen of America, who's lived a long time in the States, that wants change, because the purity of patriotism there is going to be a lot higher, in my opinion. What's the next stage now? After this, what's happening? What's the next stage?
Well, I'm going to do a lot of events. I'm going to go into the inner cities and talk to the people that people are afraid to talk to. I'm going to go into colleges, a lot of conservative meetings, and it's just a lot of work, a lot of travel. And then obviously we have to do a bunch of fundraisers because we are up against it. But so I'm told that I have the best message. I'm told that we have the best solutions. I am told that I should be the front runner. Yet we are going up against a monolith of millions of dollars, right? So if people truly believe that and they know where California goes, the rest of the world goes, we're going to need donations and we're going to need some massive fundraising. So I'm going to do everything I can to get in as many fundraising events as possible. And on when I'm on a show like yours, I'm going to ask for donations. That, by the way, within California, they can come all the way from around the world. So
yes,
if somebody from Ethiopia wants to donate, you go ahead.
And I'm going to leave the link below for that, because anyone that's listening and you resonate with Lewis's message and him running for governor, I think you should support him, because it's people like him that we need in order for us to take the country back, and set new precedents for the other side of the world to see as well. Because we need to ignite this new awakening fire into our societies and make a difference. So let's talk about the satanic cabal. You mentioned that there's a satanic cabal, I think you mentioned, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. So when we were talking about people, one of the questions had to do with food and farming. And I just addressed it like it is. The reality is our food is poisoned. Worse than that, it's intentionally poisoned, which to me, that makes it satanic. So I said there's a bunch of parasite controllers that control things. And the reason why they poison us is to control us. And in my opinion, YouTube, is to feed Big Pharma more customers.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Let's go into Epstein now with the Epstein emails. Are the emails real? Do you think they're made up? Do you think some are real, but there's more serious things going on that, they're trying to deflect? What's going on?
I may not have read them all, but the ones I read are real. but they're clearly not a Trump-based email. These are people that are trying to collude against Trump. When you're reading the emails, they're setting up strategies on how they can use the Epstein lists against Trump. Now, let's think about this from a deeper level, and I think people are going to grasp this. The purpose for Epstein was not to traffic children. The purpose of Epstein and the Maxwells, right, and possibly Les Wexner, is to compromise, to get as much dirt on very powerful people that they could, so they can compromise them and control them. This is how they run the world from the background, right? So now, if we use that context, when we look at the emails, they're talking about how they can use their information, even though they had nothing on President Trump, against President Trump. It's very clear, if you understand the context, that they're colluding together, trying to figure out what they can do. So it's amazing that the deep state and the Democrats are coming out as if this is something against Trump, when it's clearly it's not. It's the opposite. In fact, if anything, this should absolve him. We'll see what time has, and when they release all the information. I don't think it's all going to come out. You and I both know that.
Did you read some of it when you was talking about, Epstein telling his lawyer, I think, I forgot his name, that Trump's a very dangerous man, and, he's here and with the victims, and he's not,
Exactly.
what was that? I think there might have been a point in history where they tried to catch Trump in the act for blackmail, but they failed. And Trump didn't do anything because there's none of that information there. So even if he may have been next to a victim, maybe at the time Trump was unaware that that girl he was with was a victim, and that they were waiting for him to do something inappropriate. And I think Trump didn't fall for it, because they did say, we still haven't caught him, or he still hasn't been caught, or something like that. And he's not barking yet, meaning we're still waiting for him to bark, meaning we're still waiting for him to catch him in the act.
Yeah. Well, because they throw out the bait and he didn't take the bait. And then they were frustrated. So then their ideas, they're gonna make up stuff. Well, just let's be clear. Epstein flew just about everybody of influence on his planes, right? They took a free flight. That doesn't mean they went to the island. That doesn't mean they did anything. And this is how we have to delineate between the two.
But not only that, also, how many people, obviously there's a lot of people that fell for the bait, were caught, and now they have blackmail against them, which is how Israel controls everyone through Epstein's blackmails setups. But there's a lot of people that are naturally just moral, who don't, even if they are set up with the baits and the traps, they won't fall into them, because they know within themselves that their moral compass. And
exactly right.
So they might be in the emails, mentioned in the emails, but it doesn't mean that they did anything wrong. That's what I think. And I think when Trump was saying, oh, well, the Epstein list, it doesn't really matter, and, why are we talking about this? I think this was all a setup for them to release something against Trump, so that he can then say, all right, well, I'll sign it. Let's do the bill. Let's sign and release the Epstein list. I think that's what it was. It was a bit like he was trying to entrap them after.
Well, I think it was 100% that. And the proof is in the pudding. If we look at the history of what President Trump does, he's clinical art of war. He wrote The Art of the Deal, which used the principles and modalities of the art of war. So it's pretty clear what he's doing. And remember, the day this whole thing blew up, somebody, an journalist asked a question. Pam Bondi was about to answer it about Epstein. President Trump shut Pam Bondi down hard, then launched against that and said, there's nothing there. Everybody stop talking about Epstein. There's so many more things going on. He made such a big deal of it. I've never seen President Trump make such a big deal out of something like he made that, because he knew what was going to happen next. Oh, and then he followed it up with shaming anybody that has been talking about the Epstein in a truth. Think about that. This is intentional. What happened is the deep state and the Democrats, they lost their mind. This is our opportunity. We need to find out what's in there. So now they're pushing the ball forward. That's going to be the evidence against their own leaders and their personal gods. So this is just absolute brilliant art of war. In my opinion, that's what's going on here.
Absolutely. Let's see what happens, but it's very interesting. It's crazy stuff, really. I just want this to be over. But let's talk about gold now. How gold is, I read something about gold is the real money and the rest is credit. What do you think about that? I mean, I'm a big advocate of gold. I tell people before it gets too late, you're still in, it's still early. We're around, I think, is it three? What's gold at now, Lewis?
Almost $4,000.
4,000. Well, it's going to go to 10. It's going to go to 15, 20, and so on. I believe up to 80,000 once we've hit the reset. So if you think it's too late, you're not. I would get in gold right now, buy some gold, forget your 401ks, forget your pensions. It's fake money. You need gold. Okay, you need silver and gold as well. And that's what we know, someone that we trust, we work with, who switches your 401ks, your IRAs, or if you just want to buy gold, with Matt, who me and Lewis both know, who we work with. Many people have got in touch because a lot of people recently have moved their funds to protect their futures and their inheritance futures for their children into gold and silver. And I'm going to leave the link below for Matt Geiger, who I think you should really be getting in contact with. And it's an energetic contract you're making when you're doing that. You're cutting energetic cords spiritually from the system, and you're becoming sovereign by putting your your wealth into gold. Lewis, do you have anything to say about this?
Yeah, well, my preference is silver because I think there's even more upside to silver and even platinum, just based on the trajectory since the 80s. But what I like to explain to people, let's say you got 8% on your 401k, but the cost of living that year seemed to go up to 8 to 10 to 12%. You actually lost money. I'm not talking about the cost of living that they said that goes up 3%. We all know it's a lot more than that. So your dollar is being devalued the whole time. If you hold gold or silver, that can't happen. It's exactly the opposite, in fact.
I don't think there's much to say on this. I think it's self-explanatory regarding the performance of gold. It's real money. If you've got cash sitting there, it's very unwise and dangerous to hold it in your bank account because it's just devaluing. Yes, the number stays the same, but that number that stays the same is worth less and less unless it's weakening. The cash is melting. You have to put your money into gold, physical gold, where you own it in your hands and hold tight at least a few years. And I think that is the way. That is the way to be sovereign, is gold. But Lewis, thank you very much for sharing everything with us today. Again, we're not financial advisors. We're not making any claims. Please do your research. The link is below in the description for Matt Geiger that you should be in contact with, who we've worked with. Many people are very happy, and we want to spread the good news for you to become sovereign, to get gold right now, gold and silver. Lewis, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish? And also, I want to say that I'm going to leave a donation link below as well if you want to support Lewis. But please, Lewis.
Just one important thing. Nick Veniamin is awesome.
Thank you, Lewis. And you're very awesome too. And I appreciate you so much. And we'll speak again very soon. You take care and God bless. Bye-bye.
Take care. God bless.